Give me the rifle! The woman's voice cut through the gunfire like a blade. 3 SEALs turned to stare at her, the quiet medic they'd barely noticed all week. Blood soaked through her uniform sleeve. Dust choked the air. And 20 feet away, their sniper lay motionless in the sand, his weapon beside him. "You don't understand," the team leader started. "I understand perfectly." Her hand was already reaching. "Either give it to me right now, or watch those hostages die in the next 90 seconds. Nobody moved. Then she grabbed the rifle herself. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel, stay with me until the very end of this story, and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The morning Corporal Maya Reeves arrived at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. Nobody noticed her. She stepped off the transport bus with a medical bag slung over one shoulder and a duffel over the other. 23 years old, 5'6", dark hair pulled back tight. She wore the same uniform as everyone else, but somehow she looked smaller in it. A petty officer glanced at her clipboard. "Reeves?" "Yes, ma'am." "You're the new corpsman?" "I am." "Follow me." That was the entire welcome. No handshake, no introduction to the team. Maya walked 3 paces behind the petty officer across the compound, while groups of SEALs ran past in formation, their boots hitting the asphalt in perfect rhythm. None of them looked at her. She'd expected that. The medical station was a low concrete building near the training ranges. Inside, it smelled like antiseptic and old coffee. 3 other corpsmen were restocking supplies. They looked up when Maya entered. "New girl," the petty officer announced. "Get her situated." Then she left. One of the corpsmen, a broad-shouldered man with a name tape that read Holland, gave Maya a quick nod. "You been a corpsman long?" 2 years. "Combat deployments?" 1. Afghanistan. "Rough?" "Rough enough." Holland studied her for a moment, then went back to organizing bandages. "Well, this isn't Afghanistan. Most of what we do here is treat training injuries, sprains, dehydration. Occasionally, some idiot dislocates a shoulder trying to impress the instructors. You'll be fine." Maya set her bags down. "Where should I?" "Bunk rooms through that door. You're on call starting at 0600 tomorrow." Understood. She carried her duffel into the small room at the back of the building. 4 narrow bunks lined the walls. 3 were clearly occupied. Personal items scattered on the shelves, photos taped above the pillows. Maya took the empty one in the corner. She unpacked in silence. Uniforms, medical manuals, a single framed photograph she didn't put out. That night, she lay in the dark and listened to the distant sound of helicopters taking off from the airfield. She'd been here before, not Coronado specifically, but places like it, bases where everyone had a role and everyone knew exactly what they were supposed to do. Maya's role was always the same: blend in, stay quiet, be useful, but not noticeable. It was safer that way. At 0600 the next morning, she reported to the medical station. Holland was already there, brewing coffee. "You drink coffee?" he asked. "I do." "Good. You're gonna need it." The first week passed in a blur of routine. Maya treated blisters, stitched cuts, monitored vitals during endurance drills. She was competent, professional, the kind of medic who did her job well and never caused problems. The SEALs barely acknowledged her existence. On the 8th day, she was rotating bandages in the supply closet when she overheard 2 operators talking just outside the door. "Who's the new corpsman?" "No idea. Quiet girl. Keeps to herself." "She any good?" "Guess so. Haven't heard any complaints." "She look old enough to be here?" Laughter. Barely. But hey, as long as she can stop bleeding, right? Maya kept wrapping bandages. She'd heard worse. 2 weeks in, a training exercise went wrong. A SEAL candidate misjudged a rappel and hit the ground hard. Maya was called to the scene. By the time she arrived, the man was conscious but in severe pain. Possible spinal injury. His team leader was barking orders. 3 other candidates stood around looking panicked, and nobody seemed to know what to do. "Everyone step back," Maya said quietly. They didn't move. "I said step back." Her voice stayed calm, but something in it made them listen. She knelt beside the injured man, her hands moving with practiced precision. "What's your name?" "Carson," he gasped. "Carson, I need you to stay completely still. Don't move your neck. Can you feel your fingers?" "Yeah." "Your toes?" "Yeah." "Good. You're going to be fine." She looked up at the team leader. "Call medevac. Tell them possible C-spine injury, but neuro intact. I need a backboard and a cervical collar." "You sure about now?" He made the call. Maya stabilized Carson's neck with her own hands until the equipment arrived. She talked to him the entire time. Calm. Steady. When the helicopter landed 15 minutes later, she'd already immobilized him perfectly. The flight medics looked impressed. "Nice work, Corman," one of them said. Maya didn't respond. She just walked back to the medical station, alone. That night, Holland approached her. "Heard you handled that spine injury like a pro." "It wasn't that complicated." "Team leader said you were stone cold. Didn't even flinch." "I've seen worse." Holland tilted his head. "Afghanistan?" "Something like that." He didn't push further, but Maya could tell he was curious. 3 weeks in, Commander Jason Merrick arrived at the base. Merrick was a legend in the SEAL community. 38 years old, multiple combat deployments, Silver Star recipient. He was at Coronado to observe a joint training operation between SEAL Team 7 and a Marine reconnaissance unit. Everyone straightened up when he walked past. Maya first saw him during a morning briefing she was required to attend. He stood at the front of the room in his uniform, crisp and confident, discussing the training scenario. His voice carried authority, but not arrogance. "This exercise is designed to test cross-unit coordination under high-stress conditions," Merrick said. "We're simulating a hostage rescue in an urban environment. Complex, dangerous, the kind of situation where one mistake costs lives." Maya listened from the back row. Merrick continued. "Medical personnel will be embedded with each team. If someone goes down, the corpsman's job is to stabilize and extract. But remember," he looked around the room, "in real combat, the medic doesn't get to hide. You're in the fight just like everyone else." A few people nodded. After the briefing, Maya walked back to the medical station. She was almost there when someone called out behind her. "Corman Reeves!" She turned. Commander Merrick was walking toward her. "Sir? I reviewed the medical roster. You're embedded with SEAL Team 7 for the exercise tomorrow." "Yes, sir." He stopped a few feet away. "You been briefed on the scenario?" "I have." "Any questions?" "No, sir." Merrick studied her for a moment. "You seem young." Maya kept her expression neutral. "I'm qualified, sir." "I'm sure you are." He paused. "But this isn't a classroom. When bullets start flying, even simulated ones, people react differently. I need to know my corpsman won't freeze." "I won't freeze." "You sound confident." "I've earned it." Something shifted in Merrick's expression. Not quite a smile, but close. "Good. See you tomorrow, Corman." He walked away. Maya stood there for a moment, then continued to the medical station. Holland was inside, organizing supplies. Commander Merrick just talked to you? Holland asked. He did. What'd he say? Asked if I'd freeze under pressure. Holland laughed. And? I told him I wouldn't. You always this calm? Maya grabbed her medical kit and started checking supplies. Only when it matters. The next morning, the training exercise began at 0500. Maya reported to the staging area, where SEAL Team 7 was gearing up. 6 operators, full combat loadout. They moved with practiced efficiency, checking weapons, adjusting body armor, communicating in short, clipped phrases. The team leader, Lieutenant Fisher, glanced at Maya. You're our corpsman? I am. Ever done a field exercise like this before? Yes. Stay close. If someone goes down, you get to them fast. Understood? Understood. Fisher turned back to his team. Listen up. Rules of engagement are simple. Simunition rounds only. If you get hit, you're wounded. If you get hit twice, you're dead. The objective is to extract 3 hostages from a building 2 clicks north. Enemy force is a Marine recon unit playing Op 4. They're good. Don't underestimate them. One of the SEALs grinned. Marines, please. Can it, Rodriguez? Fisher checked his watch. We move in 5. Maya adjusted her medical pack. It was heavier than usual. Extra supplies, extra equipment. She'd learned a long time ago to be over-prepared. 5 minutes later, they moved out. The urban environment was a mock village built on the edge of the base. Concrete buildings, narrow alleys, perfect for ambushes. SEAL Team 7 advanced in a tactical formation, weapons up, scanning for threats. Maya stayed in the middle of the formation, exactly where she was supposed to be. They were halfway to the target building when the first shots rang out. Contact left! Fisher shouted. The team immediately returned fire. Simunition rounds cracked through the air. Maya dropped to a knee behind a low wall, staying out of the line of fire. Rodriguez is hit! Someone yelled. Maya moved instantly. She sprinted to Rodriguez, who was lying on the ground, clutching his shoulder. Where? She asked. Shoulder. Fuck, that stings. She pulled his hand away. The simunition round had left a bright paint mark. You'll live. Stay down and play dead. I'm not out yet. You're hit. That's the rule. Stay down. Rodriguez cursed but complied. The firefight lasted 3 more minutes. SEAL Team 7 pushed through and secured the first building. No casualties beyond Rodriguez. Fisher regrouped his team. Good work. Hostages are in the next structure, 200 meters north. We go fast and clean. They moved. The second building was 3 stories tall. Narrow windows, multiple entry points. Fisher split the team, 2 operators on the ground floor, 2 on the roof. Him and 1 other through the side entrance. Reeves, you're with me, Fisher said. Maya followed him through the side door. The interior was dim. They moved through a narrow hallway, weapons scanning every corner. Fisher's breathing was controlled, professional. Then everything went wrong. An Op 4 Marine appeared at the far end of the hallway and opened fire. Fisher took 2 rounds to the chest. I'm out, he shouted, dropping to the ground. The Marine advanced. Maya didn't think. She grabbed Fisher's sidearm from his holster, aimed, and fired 3 rounds. All 3 hit center mass. The Marine stopped, looked down at the paint marks, then raised his hands. Dead! Nice shooting, Corpsman. Fisher stared up at Maya from the ground. Did you just... We need to keep moving, Maya said, handing him back the sidearm. The hostages are upstairs. You're a corpsman. I'm also the only one left in this hallway. Do you want me to complete the objective or not? Fisher hesitated, then nodded. Go. I'll call it in. Maya moved deeper into the building alone. The hostages were 3 role players sitting in a locked room on the 2nd floor. Maya cleared the stairwell, breached the door with a training charge, and confirmed all three were unharmed. "We're getting out of here," she told them. "Stay behind me. Single file. Don't stop moving." They exited through the back of the building and made it to the extraction point without incident. When the exercise ended 30 minutes later, Commander Merrick was waiting at the debriefing area. "Corpsman Reeves," he said as Maya approached. "Sir?" "I reviewed the helmet cam footage from the exercise." Maya kept her expression neutral. "And?" "You shot an OP-4 Marine, with a sidearm, center mass, 3 rounds. He was advancing on a downed team leader. I neutralized the threat." "You're a medic." "I'm also qualified with a sidearm, sir." Merrick studied her. "Where'd you learn to shoot like that?" Maya hesitated, just for a second.
"Range time, sir."
"Range time." Merrick didn't look convinced. "That wasn't range shooting, Corpsman. That was tactical shooting. Combat shooting."
"I practice."
"Clearly." He crossed his arms. "Tell me something. Why is a corpsman with combat-level shooting skills working medical rotation at a training base?"
"That's where I was assigned."
"That's not what I asked." Maya met his eyes. "With respect, sir, my service record is available for review." "I've read it. 2 years as a corpsman. 1 deployment to Afghanistan with a logistics unit. Standard medical duties. Nothing remarkable." He paused. "But what I saw today wasn't standard. So I'll ask again. Where did you really learn to shoot?" Maya stayed silent. Merrick waited. Finally, she spoke. "I had good instructors." "Who?" "People who aren't around anymore." Something in the way she said it made Merrick's expression shift. He didn't push further. Instead, he nodded slowly. "Dismissed, Corpsman." Maya walked away before he could ask anything else. That night, she lay in her bunk and stared at the ceiling. Her sleeve had ridden up during the exercise. She pulled it down carefully, making sure the small tattoo on her forearm was completely covered. Most people never noticed it, but Merrick was starting to pay attention, and that was dangerous. 3 days later, Maya was restocking the medical station when Holland approached her. "Hey, Reeves, Commander Merrick wants to see you." Her stomach tightened. "When?" "Now. His office, Building C." Maya set down the supplies and walked across the base. Her mind raced through possibilities. Had he dug deeper into her record? Had someone talked? Merrick's office was on the 2nd floor. She knocked. "Enter." She stepped inside. The office was sparse. Desk, chair, American flag in the corner. Merrick sat behind the desk, reviewing a file. "Close the door," he said without looking up. Maya did. Merrick set down the file. "Sit." She sat. He leaned back in his chair. "I'm going to be direct with you, Corpsman. I've been in this job a long time. I've worked with hundreds of medical personnel. And in my experience, there are 2 kinds of corpsmen. The first kind learned medicine to help people. The second kind learned medicine because they were already soldiers and someone told them to." Maya said nothing. "You," Merrick continued, "are the second kind." "Is that a problem, sir?" "That depends." He opened a drawer and pulled out a photograph. He slid it across the desk. Maya's breath caught. It was a military unit photo. 10 people in full tactical gear. Faces blurred for security. But in the bottom corner, barely visible, was a unit insignia. The same insignia tattooed on Maya's forearm. Merrick tapped the photo. "Phantom Recon Unit 7. Classified Special Operations Team. Officially disbanded 8 years ago after a mission in Yemen went sideways. Entire unit declared KIA." Maya's hands stayed perfectly still on her lap. "But here's the interesting part," Merrick said. "I did some digging. Phantom 7 had a specialist assigned to them. Young, exceptionally talented, marksman scores off the charts, tactical medicine certified, and he looked directly at Maya. Female. Silence filled the office. Her name, Merrick said slowly, was listed as Maya Reeves, age 19 at the time, declared killed in action along with the rest of the unit. He paused. Except you're sitting right in front of me, very much alive. Maya finally spoke. That person doesn't exist anymore. Then who are you? I'm Corporal Maya Reeves, Corpsman, Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. Bullshit. The word hung in the air. Merrick stood up and walked to the window. I don't know what happened in Yemen. Your file is redacted to hell and back. But I know enough to know that someone with your training doesn't just disappear into medical rotation for 2 years. He turned to face her. So I'll ask one more time. Who are you, really? Maya stood. Permission to speak freely, sir? Granted. The person I was in Phantom 7 died in Yemen. What you're looking at right now is what survived. And if you dig any deeper into that file, you're going to find out why it's redacted. And trust me, sir, you don't want those answers. Merrick studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Fair enough. Dismissed. Maya turned to leave. Reeves. She stopped. Whatever you're running from, Merrick said quietly, it's going to catch up eventually. It always does. Maya left without responding. That night she sat alone in the medical station and rolled up her sleeve. The tattoo was small, simple, just the Phantom 7 insignia. She traced it with one finger. 10 people in that unit photo. 9 of them were dead. And she was the reason why. The next morning, Maya was inventorying trauma supplies when Holland burst through the door. Reeves, briefing room, now. She looked up. What's happening? No idea. Commander Merrick called it. Move. Maya dropped the gauze and followed him across the compound. The briefing room was already crowded. SEAL Team 7, Marine recon officers, intelligence personnel. And at the front of the room, Commander Merrick stood beside a screen displaying satellite imagery. Everyone quieted when Maya entered. Merrick gestured to an empty seat. Corpsman Reeves. Good. We're waiting on one more. 30 seconds later, a man in civilian clothes walked in. Late 50s, gray hair cropped military short. He carried himself like someone who'd spent decades giving orders. Merrick straightened. Gentlemen, this is Robert Kane, former Defense Intelligence Agency. He's here on behalf of JSOC. Kane didn't smile. He simply nodded and took position beside Merrick. Let's get to it, Kane said. His voice was gravelly. 6 hours ago, we received credible intelligence about a hostage situation developing in northern Syria. 3 American contractors were ambushed by a militia group with ties to foreign intelligence services. They're being held in a compound approximately 40 kilometers from the Turkish border. The screen changed to show a building complex surrounded by desert. Standard rescue op, Lieutenant Fisher said. Why brief us here? Because this isn't standard, Kane replied. The militia holding them is using advanced tactical protocols, counter-surveillance, anti-sniper measures, the kind of training that doesn't come from online videos. He paused. The kind of training that comes from former U.S. Special Operations personnel. The room went cold. Merrick spoke next. We have reason to believe the individual leading this militia group is a former American operative who went rogue 8 years ago. Someone with intimate knowledge of our tactics, our methods, our vulnerabilities. Maya's heart stopped. Kane pulled up a photograph. Grainy, taken from long distance. A figure in tactical gear, face partially obscured. His name is Victor Hale, former Army Ranger, served in multiple combat zones before disappearing in 2018 during a classified operation in Yemen. Maya's hands gripped the edge of her chair. Hale was declared KIA along with his entire unit, Kane continued. But intelligence now suggests he survived and has been operating in the region ever since, selling his expertise to the highest bidder. Fisher leaned forward. You're saying this guy knows our playbook? Every page, King confirmed, which makes a conventional rescue extremely difficult. We need a team that can think outside standard protocols, adapt in real time, and we need medical personnel who can operate in a combat environment. Merrick looked directly at Maya. That's why Corman Reeves is here. Every head in the room turned toward her. Maya kept her face blank. Sir, I'm not a combat medic, You're exactly what we need, Merrick interrupted. I've reviewed your performance in the training exercise. You don't freeze, you adapt. And based on your service record, he emphasized the words carefully, you have experience in high-stress environments. Kane stepped forward. Miss Reeves, we're not asking you to be a trigger puller, but if this operation goes sideways, we need a corpsman who won't fall apart when the shooting starts. Maya forced herself to breathe normally. When does the op launch? 48 hours, Kane said. You'll deploy with SEAL Team 7 to Turkey, stage near the border, and execute the rescue at night. In and out, fast and clean. And if we encounter Hale? Fisher asked. You neutralize the threat, Kane said flatly. Whatever it takes. The briefing continued for another hour. Tactical details, insertion methods, exfiltration routes. Maya absorbed every word while her mind screamed. Victor Hale. Alive. When the briefing ended, Merrick caught her at the door. My office, 5 minutes. Maya walked outside and stood in the sunlight, forcing her breathing to slow. Her hands were shaking. Holland appeared beside her. You okay? Fine. You don't look fine. I said I'm fine. Holland studied her. This your first real combat deployment? Maya almost laughed. Something like that. 5 minutes later, she stood in Merrick's office again. He closed the door and leaned against his desk. Talk to me. About what? About why you looked like you saw a ghost during that briefing. I didn't. Reeves. His voice was firm, but not unkind. I've been doing this long enough to read people. The moment Kane mentioned Victor Hale, you shut down. So either you know something about this guy, or you have a very good reason to be afraid of him. Which is it? Maya's jaw tightened. I can handle the mission. That's not what I asked. With respect, sir, my personal feelings don't affect my ability to do my job. Merrick crossed his arms. Let me tell you what I think. I think Victor Hale was part of Phantom Recon Unit 7. I think you served with him. And I think whatever happened in Yemen involved him directly. Maya said nothing. Am I wrong? Merrick pressed. The operation is classified. I have the clearance. Then you also know I can't discuss it. Merrick sighed. Fine. But understand this. If we're walking into a situation where your past is going to compromise this team, I need to know now, not when we're in the field. Maya met his eyes. It won't compromise anything. I'll do my job. Even if that job puts you face to face with someone from your past? Especially then. Merrick studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. You're dismissed. Wheels up in 48 hours. Be ready. Maya left before he could say anything else. That night, she sat in the empty medical station and opened a locked drawer in her desk. Inside was a single item she'd kept from Yemen. A photograph. Phantom Recon Unit 7. All 10 members. Taken 3 days before the mission that destroyed them. Maya found herself in the back row, 19 years old, rifle slung over her shoulder, expression serious. And standing in the front row, grinning like he owned the world, was Victor Hale. She'd trusted him. They all had, right up until the moment he pulled the trigger. The next 48 hours passed in a blur. Maya packed her gear, checked medical supplies 3 times, attended mission briefings, and tried not to think about what was waiting for her in Syria. On the morning of departure, she stood on the tarmac watching the C-130 being loaded. SEAL Team 7 was already boarding. Combat gear, weapons, enough firepower to level a small building.
First time on a Hercules?
Maya turned. Commander Merrick stood beside her, his own gear packed.
You're coming?
She asked. I am. This operation has my attention. He paused. And I want to make sure my corpsman comes home alive.
I'm not your responsibility.
Everyone on my team is my responsibility. He handed her a small radio. Command frequency. If things go bad, you use this. Understood? Maya took the radio.
Understood.
They boarded together. The flight to Turkey took 14 hours. Maya sat in the cargo hold, surrounded by SEALs who slept, checked weapons, or stared at nothing. She tried to do the same, but every time she closed her eyes, she saw Yemen. The compound. The firefight. The explosion. Victor's face as he walked away from the flames. When they landed at Incirlik Air Base, the temperature was already climbing toward 90 degrees. A briefing tent was set up on the edge of the runway. Kane was waiting inside. Update, he said without preamble. The hostages are confirmed alive, but injured. One has a gunshot wound. The militia is demanding a ransom. We have 12 hours before they execute one of the contractors to prove they're serious. What's the plan? Fisher asked. Kane pulled up a map. We insert here, 2 kilometers south of the compound. Approach on foot. Neutralize guards. Extract the hostages. Exfiltration by helicopter from this LZ. What about Hale? Intel suggests he's on site. If you encounter him, rules of engagement are clear. He's a hostile combatant. Fisher nodded. Understood. Merrick looked at Maya. Corpsman, if one of those hostages has a GSW, how long can they survive without treatment?
Depends on the wound. But if it's been more than 24 hours, we're looking at infection, blood loss, possibly sepsis. I'll need to stabilize them immediately.
Then you'd better be fast. 6 hours later, they were in position. The desert was dark, no moon. SEAL Team 7 moved like ghosts through the sand, night vision goggles turning the world green. Maya stayed in the center of the formation, her medical pack heavy on her back. Merrick's voice came through the radio. Command to all elements. Target building is 200 meters ahead. 4 guards visible on the perimeter. Sniper team, do you have eyes on? A different voice responded. Sniper 1 has eyes on. Northeast guard tower. 1 hostile. Preparing to engage. Wait for my mark, Merrick said. Maya crouched behind a ridge and watched the building through her night vision. It was smaller than the satellite images suggested. 2 stories, concrete walls, single entrance.
All teams ready, Fisher whispered. On your command, sir.
Merrick's voice was calm. Mark. The night erupted. Suppressed gunfire, shouted commands. Guards dropped before they could raise an alarm. SEAL Team 7 breached the entrance and disappeared inside. Maya followed Fisher through the door. The interior was chaos. Narrow hallways, closed doors. Somewhere deeper in the building, she could hear voices shouting in Arabic. Fisher hand-signaled his team to split up. 2 SEALs went left. 2 went right. Fisher gestured for Maya to follow him. They moved through a corridor lined with empty rooms. Fisher cleared each one methodically. Then they reached a locked door at the end of the hall. Fisher tried the handle. Locked. He placed a small breaching charge and stepped back. "Fire in the hole!" The explosion was deafening in the enclosed space. The door blew inward. Inside, 3 men sat bound to chairs. American contractors. One of them had blood soaking through his shirt. "We're U.S. military," Fisher said. "We're here to get you out." Maya rushed to the injured man. Gunshot wound to the abdomen, exit wound visible on his back. He was conscious, but pale. "What's your name?" Maya asked, already pulling supplies from her pack. "Miller," he gasped. "Am I gonna die?" "Not today." She cut away his shirt. The wound was bad, but manageable. She packed it with gauze, applied pressure, started an IV line. "You're going to be fine, Miller. Stay with me." Fisher cut the zip ties off the other 2 contractors. "Can you walk?" "Yeah." "Then move. We're getting out of here." They made it halfway down the corridor before gunfire erupted from somewhere above them. "Contact! 2nd floor!" someone shouted over the radio. Fisher pushed the contractors against the wall. "Stay down!" More gunfire, closer now. Then a voice Maya hadn't heard in 8 years echoed through the building. "Well, well, they sent little Maya Reeves to clean up the mess." She froze. Fisher looked at her. "You know that voice?" Maya's hand went to her sidearm. "Yeah, I know it." Victor Hale appeared at the top of the stairwell. Older, harder, but unmistakably the same man from the photograph. He had a rifle pointed directly at Fisher. "Drop your weapon," Hale said calmly. Fisher didn't move. "Drop it," Hale repeated, "or I put a round through your team leader's skull, and we see if your corpsman can fix that." Fisher slowly lowered his rifle. Hale smiled. "Smart." His eyes shifted to Maya. "Hello, Maya. Long time." Maya's voice was ice. 8 years. "You're still angry about Yemen. You killed 9 people." "I saved myself," Hale corrected. "And I gave you the same opportunity. You chose not to take it." "I chose not to be a traitor." Hale shrugged. "Call it what you want. I'm still breathing. Most of Phantom 7 isn't." He gestured with the rifle. "Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave those contractors right where they are. You're going to walk out of this building, and you're going to tell your command that the rescue failed." "Not a chance," Fisher said. Hale shot him. The round hit Fisher in the leg. He went down hard, cursing. Maya moved instantly, dropping to her knees beside him. "Next one goes in his chest," Hale said. "Your move, Maya." Maya looked up at him. 8 years of rage burned behind her eyes, and for the first time since Yemen, she let it show. "You made one mistake," she said quietly. "What's that?" "You assumed I was still the same scared 19-year-old you left in the desert." Hale's smile faltered. Maya's hand moved faster than anyone expected. She grabbed Fisher's dropped rifle, rolled to the side, and fired 3 rounds up the stairwell. All 3 hit Hale's center mass. He staggered back, shock on his face, and disappeared into the darkness above. "Go!" Maya shouted to the other SEALs. "Get the contractors out! Now!" They didn't argue. They grabbed Miller and the other 2 and ran for the exit. Maya knelt beside Fisher. "How bad?" "Hurts like hell, but I'll live." "Did you just—" "Yeah." She pulled a tourniquet from her pack. "I did." Merrick's voice crackled over the radio. "Reeves, what's your status?" Maya applied the tourniquet to Fisher's leg. "1 friendly wounded. Hostile neutralized. We're moving to exfil." "Copy that. Get out of there." Maya helped Fisher to his feet. He leaned on her heavily as they moved toward the exit. Behind them, Somewhere in the dark building, Maya heard movement. Hale wasn't dead. "Move faster," she told Fisher. They made it outside just as the helicopter appeared overhead. The other SEALs were already loading the contractors. Maya got Fisher aboard, then turned back toward the building one last time. A figure stood in the doorway, wounded, bleeding, but still standing. Victor Hale looked at her across the distance. Then he raised one hand. Not in surrender, in salute. Maya didn't return it. She climbed aboard the helicopter, and they lifted off into the night. As the compound disappeared below them, Fisher looked at her. "What the hell was that back there?" Maya stared out at the desert. "That was me finishing something I should have finished 8 years ago." Who was he really? Someone who stopped being a soldier and started being a ghost. Fisher was quiet for a moment. "You saved my life. That's my job." "No," Fisher said. "That was something else." Maya didn't respond. She closed her eyes and let the vibration of the helicopter wash over her. When they landed back at the base 6 hours later, Kane was waiting. "Debrief in 20 minutes, he said. "All personnel." Maya walked to the medical station alone. She cleaned her gear, restocked her supplies, and tried not to think about the look on Victor's face when she'd shot him. 20 minutes later, she sat in the briefing room while Kane stood at the front. "The operation was a success," he said. 3 hostages recovered, 1 friendly wounded but stable, and Victor Hale is confirmed neutralized. Maya's head snapped up. "Confirmed? Drone surveillance picked up a body being removed from the compound 2 hours after you left. Hale's militia scattered. He's done." Merrick looked at Maya. "You did good work out there, Corman." Maya nodded slowly, but something felt wrong. That salute. The way Hale had smiled before disappearing. He'd known she would shoot. He'd wanted her to. And now he was gone. Not dead, gone, which meant he was still out there. Somewhere. Waiting. Maya couldn't sleep that night. She lay in her bunk staring at the ceiling while the other corpsmen snored around her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Victor's face. That smile. That salute. He'd let her shoot him. Why? At 0400, she gave up trying to sleep and walked to the medical station. The base was quiet, just the distant sound of a helicopter doing maintenance runs. She made coffee and sat at her desk, pulling out the mission report she was supposed to file. But her hands wouldn't move. Something was wrong. She could feel it in her gut. The door opened. Commander Merrick walked in, also holding a coffee cup. "Couldn't sleep either?" he asked. "No, sir." He sat down across from her. "Want to talk about it?" "Not particularly." "Too bad." He took a sip of coffee. "I've been in this business 30 years, Reeves. I know what unfinished business looks like. And you've got it written all over your face." Maya set down her pen. "He's not dead." The drone footage was exactly what he wanted us to see. She looked at Merrick. "Victor Hale doesn't make mistakes. If he let himself get shot, it was part of a plan." "What kind of plan?" "I don't know yet, but he's alive. I'm sure of it." Merrick studied her. "You want to tell me what really happened in Yemen?" Maya was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. Phantom 7 was tasked with extracting a high-value intelligence asset from a compound outside Sana'a. Simple grab and go. We went in clean. Everything was perfect. She paused. Until Victor decided the asset was worth more alive than delivered. He turned. He tried to sell the asset to the highest bidder. When the team leader found out, Victor killed him. Then he rigged the compound to explode and walked away while the rest of us were still inside. Her voice hardened. I got out because I was on overwatch. Everyone else died in the blast. Jesus Christ. I reported what happened,
But Victor had already disappeared. The DoD declared the whole unit KIA to avoid the embarrassment of a rogue operator. They buried it. Buried me with it. Merrick leaned back. So you became a corpsman. I became invisible. It was safer. Until now. Until now. Merrick drained his coffee. If you're right, if Hale is alive, what's his next move? I don't know. But whatever it is, it involves me. The radio on Merrick's belt crackled to life. Commander Merrick, report to TOC immediately. Priority Alpha. Merrick and Maya exchanged looks. They ran. The Tactical Operations Center was packed with officers, intelligence analysts, and SEAL team leaders. Kane stood at the front beside a screen showing real-time satellite footage. What's the situation? Merrick demanded. Kane pointed at the screen. 18 minutes ago, a commercial airliner departing from Istanbul reported a bomb threat. Turkish authorities grounded the flight, evacuated passengers, and found this. The image changed to show a close-up of a device attached to the plane's cargo hold. That's a radio-triggered explosive, Fisher said, his wounded leg wrapped in bandages. Military grade. Correct, Kane said. But here's where it gets interesting. The device didn't detonate. Instead, it transmitted a message directly to our satellite network. How the hell? Someone with intimate knowledge of our communication protocols built this specifically to reach us. Kane pulled up the message. 6 words appeared on the screen. Maya Reeves, come find me. Alone. The room went silent. Everyone turned to look at Maya. She stepped forward, her voice steady. Where? Kane pulled up a map. The device contained GPS coordinates, a location in eastern Turkey, abandoned Soviet-era airfield, approximately 200 kilometers from here. It's a trap, Merrick said flatly. Obviously, Kane agreed. But we have to assume Hale has additional explosives planted elsewhere. This message suggests he wants to negotiate. He wants to kill me, Maya corrected. There's a difference. Fisher spoke up. We send in a full team. Surround the location. Take him down before he knows what hit him. He'll know, Maya said. Victor trained with the best. He'll see us coming from 5 miles out. So what do you suggest? Kane asked. Maya looked at the coordinates. I go alone, like he asked. Absolutely not, Merrick snapped. It's the only way to draw him out. It's suicide. It's justice. The two stared at each other. Finally, Kane intervened. Corpsman Reeves, even if we approve this, which we haven't, what makes you think you'd survive long enough to complete any kind of objective? Maya pulled up her sleeve, revealing the Phantom 7 tattoo. Because Victor Hale wants to prove something. He wants to show me he was right to betray the unit. He wants me to join him, or he wants me to die knowing he won. She lowered her sleeve. Either way, he needs me alive long enough to gloat. That's his weakness. Merrick shook his head. I don't like this. You don't have to like it, sir. You just have to let me do my job. Kane considered for a moment, then nodded. We'll insert you at the coordinates, but you won't be alone. We'll have a sniper team positioned 2 kilometers out, eyes on the entire time. And if things go sideways, we extract you immediately. He'll see them. Then they'll have to be invisible. Maya looked at Merrick. Sir? Merrick's jaw was tight. This is a bad idea. It's the only idea, he sighed. Fine, but you wear a tracker, and you maintain radio contact every 5 minutes. Miss one check-in, we're coming in loud. Understood. 3 hours later, Maya sat in the back of a helicopter flying low over the Turkish countryside. She wore civilian clothes, jeans, jacket, boots. No visible weapons, just a small tracker sewn into her belt and a radio unit disguised as a phone. Fisher sat across from her. His leg was still wrapped, but he'd insisted on leading the sniper overwatch team. "You sure about this?" he asked. "No." "Good. People who are sure get themselves killed." The helicopter descended toward a flat stretch of desert. The abandoned airfield appeared ahead. Cracked concrete, rusted hangars, wind-blown sand covering everything. "LZ in 30 seconds, the pilot called. Maya stood and checked her gear one last time. Fisher grabbed her arm. "Reeves,
For what it's worth, you're one of the bravest people I've ever met. Or the dumbest. Sometimes it's the same thing." The helicopter touched down. Maya jumped out and immediately dropped to a crouch as the aircraft lifted away. The rotors kicked up a dust storm that lasted 30 seconds. Then silence. Maya activated her radio. "I'm on the ground. Proceeding to coordinates." Merrick's voice came through. "Copy. Sniper team is in position. We have eyes on you." Maya walked toward the largest hangar. Her boots crunched on broken concrete. The sun was setting, turning the sky orange and purple. The hangar door was open. Inside, the space was cavernous. Empty fuel drums, abandoned equipment. And in the center, a single chair. Victor Hale sat in it, one hand pressed against his side where Maya had shot him. He was pale, but smiling. "Hello, Maya." She stopped 10 feet away. "You're bleeding." "You're a good shot. I taught you well." "You didn't teach me anything." The team did. The team is dead. Because of you. Victor stood slowly, wincing. "No, because of them. They chose loyalty over survival. I chose differently." "You chose murder." "I chose freedom." He gestured around the empty hangar. "Look at us. You're still taking orders, still wearing their uniform, even when you're pretending to be a civilian. I stopped being their puppet 8 years ago." Maya's hand moved toward her jacket. "You're not armed," Victor said. "I can tell. You think I didn't account for that?" "I don't need a weapon to stop you." Bold words for someone who's been hiding for 8 years. "I wasn't hiding. I was waiting." Victor laughed. "For what? This moment? Please, you could have found me any time. You didn't want to, because deep down, you know I was right." "You killed 9 people." "I killed 9 people who would have stopped me from living my own life." He took a step closer. "And you could have stopped me that night in Yemen." You had a clear shot, but you hesitated. Maya's hands clenched into fists. "I hesitated because I couldn't believe what you were doing." "You hesitated because you understood." Victor's voice dropped. "You saw the cage they kept us in. The missions that meant nothing. The lies they told us about honor and duty and sacrifice. I offered you a way out, and you almost took it." "I would never." "You would. You did." Victor pulled out a small device. "Remember the intelligence asset we were supposed to extract? The one I supposedly betrayed you for?" Maya went cold. His name was Dmitry Volkov, Russian defector with information about American military operations being sold to foreign governments. Victor smiled. "But here's the part they didn't tell you. Volkov wasn't coming to us voluntarily. We were kidnapping him. And the information he had? It proved that our own government was selling secrets to fund black ops." "You're lying." "Am I?" Victor tossed her the device. "That's Volkov's original intel package. Read it yourself." Maya caught the device, but didn't look at it. "Even if that's true, you still killed the team." "I killed people who were going to bury that evidence, and me along with it." Victor's expression hardened. The team leader knew. He was part of the cover-up.
When I confronted him, he tried to execute me. I defended myself. That's not what happened. Isn't it? You were outside on Overwatch. You didn't see what happened in that compound. You only saw the explosion. Maya's world tilted. 8 years of certainty cracked. Victor pressed forward. I triggered that explosion to destroy the evidence, but I tried to get everyone out first. I called for evacuation. They ignored me because they'd already decided I was a traitor. He gestured to his wounded side. And when you shot me yesterday, I let you, because I knew you'd eventually come looking for answers, and I wanted to give them to you. Stop talking. The truth hurts, doesn't it? I said stop. Victor moved closer, his voice almost gentle. You've spent 8 years blaming yourself for surviving, wondering why you lived when they died. I'm giving you the answer. You lived because you weren't part of the conspiracy. You were just a kid who believed what they told you. Maya's radio crackled. Merrick's voice. Reeves, check in. She didn't respond. Maya, Victor said quietly, you can keep being their weapon, or you can walk away with me right now. No more lies, no more guilt, just survival. Maya looked at him. Really looked. He was older, scarred, and absolutely sincere. I need proof, she whispered. Victor smiled. Then read the file. Maya looked down at the device in her hands. Then gunfire erupted outside the hangar. Ambush! Someone screamed over the radio. Multiple hostiles! We're taking fire! Victor's smile vanished. That's not me. What? I came alone. That's not my people. More gunfire. Closer now. Fisher's voice cut through the chaos. Reeves, we've got a militia force moving on your position. At least 20 armed combatants. Maya grabbed her radio. Where did they come from? Unknown. They weren't there 5 minutes ago. Victor was already moving toward a back exit. Someone else was tracking you. Someone who wants both of us dead. Who? The same people who wanted Volkov dead. He pulled a pistol from his jacket and tossed it to Maya. We can argue about the past later. Right now, we need to survive the present. Maya caught the pistol. Outside, the gunfire intensified. Fisher's voice again, strained. Sniper 1 is hit. Repeat, Sniper 1 is down. Maya's training took over. She ran toward the door, Victor limping behind her. They emerged into chaos. The sniper Overwatch position was under heavy fire. 2 SEALs were dragging Fisher toward cover, while rounds impacted all around them. The militia force was advancing from 3 sides, using professional tactics. They're ex-military, Victor said. Look at their formation. He was right. These weren't amateurs. Maya sprinted toward the SEALs. Fall back to the hangar. We can defend from inside. One of the SEALs, a young operator named Torres, turned to look at her. Ma'am, Fisher is hit bad. I don't think... A round caught Torres in the chest. He went down hard. Maya reached him first. Exit wound. Catastrophic. He was already dying. Give me the rifle, she shouted. The other SEAL stared at her. What? Your sniper rifle. Give it to me right now. You're a corpsman. I was a lot of things before I was a corpsman. She grabbed Torres's rifle from where it had fallen beside him. Get Fisher inside. Move! The SEAL hesitated for one more second. Then Maya dropped to prone position, acquired a target 600 meters out, and fired. The militia's machine gunner collapsed. She chambered another round, fired again, another target down. The SEAL's mouth fell open. Holy shit! I said move! He grabbed Fisher and ran for the hangar.
Maya stayed in position, providing covering fire. 1 shot, 2, 3, each one precise, each one lethal. Victor appeared beside her, firing his pistol at closer targets. "Where'd you learn to shoot like that?" "You know where. I taught you handguns. I didn't teach you that." "No." Maya fired again. "Someone better did." They held the position for 90 seconds, long enough for the SEALs to reach the hangar with Fisher. Then Maya grabbed the rifle and ran. Bullets chased her across the concrete. She dove through the hangar door just as the militia opened up with everything they had. Inside, Fisher was on the ground, blood spreading across his shirt. The other SEAL was trying to apply pressure, but his hands were shaking. Maya shoved him aside. "I've got this." She worked fast. Cut away Fisher's vest and shirt. 2 gunshot wounds, one in the shoulder, one in the abdomen. The shoulder was manageable. The abdomen was bad. "Stay with me, Fisher," she said, her hands moving on autopilot. "You don't get to die today."
Maya,
Fisher coughed blood.
who the hell are you really?
Someone who should have died 8 years ago. She packed the wound, started an IV, administered morphine. Victor was at the door, returning fire. "We've got maybe 5 minutes before they flank us." The radio crackled, Merrick's voice, frantic. "Reeves, QRF is inbound. ETA 12 minutes. Can you hold?" Maya looked at Fisher, at the bleeding, at the reality that if she didn't get him out in the next 10 minutes, he was dead. Then she looked at the rifle in her hands and made a decision. She stood up, walked to the door, and looked out at the advancing militia. 23 hostiles, professional spacing, good cover discipline. "Reeves, what are you doing?" the other SEAL asked. Maya chambered around. "My job." Then she stepped out of the hangar. Victor grabbed for her. "Are you insane?" "Probably." She walked 20 feet into the open, dropped to one knee, and began firing. The first shot dropped the militia's team leader. The second took out their communications specialist. The third shattered their formation. They returned fire. Rounds snapped past her head. She didn't flinch. 4th shot. 5th. 6th. The militia began to retreat. "What the hell is she?" someone screamed in Arabic. Maya kept firing. 7th shot. 8th. 9th. By the time the quick reaction force helicopters appeared on the horizon, the militia was in full retreat. Maya lowered the rifle and walked back to the hangar. Victor was staring at her. "Who taught you to shoot like that?" Maya looked at him. "His name was Staff Sergeant Chen, Phantom 7's sniper instructor. He died in Yemen covering my escape." She handed the rifle to the SEAL. "He taught me that sometimes the only way to save people is to be the thing they're afraid of." The helicopters landed 60 seconds later. Medics rushed Fisher onto a stretcher. He grabbed Maya's hand as they loaded him. "Thank you," he gasped. "Don't thank me yet. You still owe me for saving your ass twice in 1 week." He managed a weak smile. "Put it on my tab." As they lifted Fisher into the helicopter, Merrick appeared. He looked at Maya, at the rifle, at the bodies scattered across the airfield. "Corman Reeves," he said slowly. "We need to have a very long conversation." "Yes, sir." But first, he glanced at Victor, who was being held at gunpoint by 2 SEALs. "Who the hell is that?" Maya looked at Victor one last time. He met her eyes and mouthed 2 words. "Read it." She still had the device in her pocket. "That," Maya said quietly, "is my past catching up." Merrick didn't wait for the helicopter ride back. He pulled Maya into a secured communications room the moment they landed at the base. Kane was already there. So was a woman Maya didn't recognize. Mid-40s, severe expression, wearing a suit instead of a uniform.
Sit down, Corman, the woman said. Maya remained standing. Who are you? Deputy Director Catherine Wells, Defense Intelligence Agency. And you're going to tell me everything that happened at that airfield. I already filed a... I don't care about your report. Wells stepped closer. I care about why a corpsman who's supposed to be treating blisters at a training base just killed 9 hostiles with a sniper rifle while under fire. So let's try this again. Who are you? Merrick started to intervene. Deputy Director, Commander Merrick. With all due respect, you're out of your depth here. Wells kept her eyes on Maya. This woman has a service record that's been sanitized 6 ways from Sunday. 2 years as a corpsman. 1 deployment. Nothing remarkable, except I've been in intelligence for 20 years, and I know what a cover identity looks like. Maya's jaw tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. Victor Hale said your name. Not once. Multiple times. According to the audio we pulled from your tracker, Wells pulled out a tablet and played back the recording. Victor's voice filled the room. Hello, Maya. I taught you well. You could have stopped me that night in Yemen. Wells paused the recording. Yemen, 8 years ago. Phantom Recon Unit 7 was wiped out in Yemen. And you, she pointed at Maya, were part of that unit. That's classified. Not anymore. Wells pulled up a file. Maya Reeves, age 19 at time of death, specialist, Phantom 7, tactical medicine and precision marksmanship. Declared KIA along with 9 other operators when the mission went sideways. She looked up. Except you're not dead. You're standing right here. So what really happened in Yemen? Maya glanced at Merrick. He gave her a slight nod. She took a breath. We were extracting an intelligence asset. Russian defector named Dmitry Volkov. The mission was supposed to be clean. It wasn't. Because Victor Hale turned on the team, Wells said. That's what I believed. Until today. Wells set down the tablet. Explain. Maya pulled the device from her pocket and placed it on the table. Hale gave me this. He claims it contains Volkov's original intelligence package. Evidence that our own government was selling classified information to fund black operations. The room went silent. Kane picked up the device. You haven't opened this? Not yet. Smart. He handed it to Wells. We'll need to verify this through secure channels before... No. Maya's voice cut through. If that device contains what Hale says it does, then someone in our chain of command already knows about it. The moment you plug it into any military network, it disappears. Wells studied her. You're suggesting a conspiracy. I'm suggesting we find out what's on that device before we trust anyone else with it. Merrick spoke up. Deputy Director, Corman Reeves has a point. If there's even a chance Hale was telling the truth, we need to proceed carefully. Wells was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out her own laptop. Civilian model, not military issue. This isn't connected to any government network. Let's see what we're dealing with. She inserted the device. Files appeared on the screen. Hundreds of them. Classified documents, communications intercepts, financial records. Wells scrolled through them, her expression growing darker with each passing second. Finally, she spoke. Jesus Christ. What is it? Kane asked. Wells turned the screen around. Maya leaned forward and read. The files detailed a covert program called Operation Nightfall, a black-budget initiative run by a rogue element within the Defense Intelligence Agency. They were selling classified military intelligence to foreign governments and using the proceeds to fund unauthorized operations across the Middle East. And the program had been running for over a decade. Dmitry Volkov discovered this, Wells said quietly. He was part of the Russian intelligence apparatus that was buying the information. When he tried to defect and expose it, Phantom 7 was sent to extract him. To silence him, Maya corrected. The team didn't know. We thought we were saving him. Wells kept reading. According to these files, the team leader, Captain James Morrison, was read into the operation. His orders were to extract Volkov and eliminate him during transport. Make it look like enemy action. Maya's hands gripped the edge of the table. Morrison tried to kill Victor when Victor found out. And Hale fought back, Wells finished. Then destroyed the compound to eliminate the evidence and anyone who might talk. She looked at Maya. Including you.
He called for evacuation, Maya whispered. I remember hearing it over comms. But Morrison ordered everyone to hold position, said it was a false alarm.
Morrison was trying to keep you all in the building until it blew, Kane said. Maya felt the world tilt. 8 years of guilt. 8 years of believing she'd survived because of luck. She'd survived because Victor saved her. There's more, Wells said. She pulled up another document. 3 days ago, someone flagged your service record. Someone inside DIA ran a search on Phantom 7 survivors. Who? Merrick demanded. Wells highlighted a name. Colonel Marcus Brennan, Deputy Director of Operations, Defense Intelligence Agency. Brennan runs counterintelligence, Kane said slowly. He would have access to everything. He's also the one who signed off on declaring Phantom 7 KIA, Wells added. And according to these files, he's been running Operation Nightfall since its inception. Maya stood up.
He sent that militia force to the airfield. He wanted both me and Victor dead before we could talk.
And he knows you're alive, Wells said, which means you're a loose end. Merrick pulled out his sidearm and checked the magazine. Then we need to move, now. Get Reeves into protective custody and... The lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing the room in red. An alarm began to wail.
What the hell?
Kane moved toward the door. It exploded inward. 3 men in tactical gear stormed through, weapons up. Not military uniforms, private contractor gear. Down! Everyone down! Merrick raised his weapon. Identify yourselves! The lead contractor shot him. The round hit Merrick in the chest. His body armor stopped it, but the impact knocked him backward into the wall. Maya moved on instinct. She grabbed Wells's laptop, dove behind the desk, and pulled Merrick's fallen sidearm from the floor. The contractors advanced. Maya fired twice. 1 contractor dropped.
The other 2 took cover. Go! She shouted at Wells and Kane. Get out!
Wells grabbed the laptop and ran for the back exit. Kane followed. Maya provided covering fire until they cleared the room. Then she pulled Merrick to his feet.
Can you move?
She asked. He gasped for air. Yeah, bruised ribs. I'll live.
Not if we stay here.
They ran. The corridor outside was chaos. More contractors were sweeping the building. Alarms blaring. Personnel scrambling for cover. Maya counted at least 6 hostiles between them and the exit. This way, Merrick said, pulling her toward a side stairwell. They descended 2 floors. The stairwell opened into a maintenance area. Dark. Quiet. Too quiet. Maya raised the pistol. A figure emerged from the shadows. Fisher. Bandaged and pale, but standing, holding his own weapon.
Jesus, Fisher, Maya breathed. You should be in medical.
So should you, apparently. He gestured down the corridor. I heard the alarm.
What's happening?
Contractors hit the base. They're here for me.
Who sent them?
Someone who wants me dead. Fisher nodded. Then I guess we'd better keep you alive. He looked at Merrick. Sir, what's the plan? Merrick checked his ammunition. We need to get to the armory, get proper weapons,
Then secure Reeves until we can figure out who we can trust.
The armory is 3 buildings away, Fisher said, and there's at least a dozen hostiles between here and there.
Then we go around. They moved through the maintenance tunnels, staying low, staying quiet. Maya's mind raced. Brennan had sent a kill team to a U.S. military base. That took resources, influence, and a complete lack of concern about consequences, which meant he was desperate.
Merrick, she whispered as they moved, if Brennan is willing to attack a base to get to me, what's he willing to do to cover up Operation Nightfall?
Merrick's expression was grim. Whatever it takes. They reached an access tunnel that led to the armory building. Fisher checked the corridor. Clear, he said. They entered the armory through a side door. Inside, rows of weapons lined the walls. Rifles, pistols, ammunition, everything they needed. Maya grabbed an M4 and loaded 3 magazines. Merrick did the same. Fisher was already armed. Now what? Fisher asked. Merrick activated his radio. Command, this is Merrick. We have hostile forces on base. Repeat, hostile forces on base. Requesting immediate... Static. He tried again. Same result. They're jamming communications, Maya said. Or someone in command is helping them, Fisher added darkly. The armory door exploded. Flashbang grenades rolled across the floor. Maya dove behind a weapons rack as the world turned white and silent. When her vision cleared, 4 contractors were inside, weapons sweeping for targets. She fired first. 2 rounds center mass. 1 contractor down. Fisher engaged from the left, Merrick from the right. The firefight lasted 10 seconds. When it ended, all 4 contractors were dead. We can't stay here, Merrick said. They'll send more.
Where do we go? Fisher asked.
Maya looked at the bodies, at the expensive gear, the professional tactics. Then she made a decision.
We go to the source, she said. We find Brennan.
He's at DIA headquarters, Merrick said, in Virginia. That's 3,000 miles away.
Then we'd better start moving.
They left the armory and headed for the vehicle depot. The base was in lockdown. Spotlights sweeping, personnel running. Nobody stopped them. Maya hotwired a Humvee, while Merrick and Fisher provided security. You know how to do that? Merrick asked.
I know how to do a lot of things.
The engine roared to life. They climbed in and drove toward the main gate. 2 security guards stepped out, weapons raised. Stop the vehicle! Merrick leaned out the window, showing his ID. Commander Jason Merrick. We're responding to the security breach. Open the gate. The guards hesitated. That's an order, Marine. The gate opened. They drove through and accelerated onto the highway. Behind them, the base erupted into full alert. Sirens, helicopters, searchlights. They'll come after us, Fisher said from the back seat. Let them try, Maya replied. They drove for 20 minutes before Merrick spoke. We need a plan. We can't just drive across the country hoping to confront a DIA deputy director. We need leverage, Maya agreed. Something Brennan wants badly enough to negotiate. Like what? Maya thought for a moment. Then it hit her. Victor Hale. Fisher looked up. The guy we arrested? He's the only other person who knows about Operation Nightfall. If we can get to him before Brennan does, we can use him as a witness. He's in custody, Merrick said. Probably at a black site by now. Then we find out where and we break him out. That's insane. You have a better idea? Merrick was quiet. They drove until dawn, stopped at a gas station in the middle of nowhere. Maya used a payphone to call a number she'd memorized years ago. It rang 4 times. Then a voice answered. Who is this?
It's Maya Reeves.
Silence. "I thought you were dead," the voice said.
"I get that a lot. I need help."
"What kind of help?"
"The kind that involves breaking someone out of federal custody."
Another pause. "This is a secure line?"
"No."
"Then I'll call you back in 5 minutes. Stay by this phone." The line went dead. Maya waited. Merrick and Fisher stood guard by the Humvee. Exactly 5 minutes later, the phone rang. "Talk fast," the voice said.
"I need to know where they're holding Victor Hale."
"The traitor from Phantom 7? Why would I tell you that?"
"Because Operation Nightfall is real, and if I don't stop it, a lot of people are going to die."
The voice was quiet for a long time. Then, "Hale is being held at a CIA detention facility in West Virginia. Abandoned coal mine converted to a holding site. Coordinates are being sent to your phone now."
"I don't have a—"
Maya looked down. A smartphone appeared on the phone booth's ledge.
How long had it been there?
"Who are you really?" she asked. "Someone who still owes Phantom 7 a debt." The voice softened. "Chen spoke highly of you before he died. Said you were the best student he ever trained. Don't prove him wrong." The line went dead. Maya picked up the smartphone. Coordinates appeared on the screen. West Virginia, 400 miles north. She walked back to the Humvee.
"I know where Hale is."
"How?" Merrick asked.
"Someone who knows someone."
"That's not an answer."
"It's the only one you're getting."
They drove north. 12 hours later, they arrived at the coordinates. Deep forest, abandoned mining equipment, and a single road leading into the mountainside. "This is it," Maya said. They parked the Humvee a mile away and approached on foot. The facility was guarded. Fences, cameras, armed personnel.
"At least 6 guards visible," Fisher whispered. "Probably more inside."
"How do we get in?" Merrick asked. Maya studied the facility, then smiled.
"The same way I got out of Yemen. We don't sneak in. We walk through the front door."
"They'll shoot us."
"Not if they think we're supposed to be there."
She pulled out the smartphone and made a call.
"Who are you calling?"
Merrick hissed.
"Someone who can help."
The phone rang once, then a computerized voice answered. "Authentication required."
"Maya Reeves, Phantom 7. Authorization code Sierra Victor Niner 2.
A pause. Then, "Authentication. What do you need?"
"Credentials for 3 personnel. DIA transport team. Transferring a prisoner from the West Virginia site."
"Generate or infiltrate?"
"Both. We need to be in the system and on paper."
"Processing." 30 seconds of silence. "Complete. Credentials are being uploaded to your device. You have a 6-hour window before the system flags them as fraudulent." "That's plenty. Anything else?"
"Yeah. Who are you really?"
The voice almost sounded amused. "Someone who knows what it's like to be erased. Good luck, Specialist Reeves." The line went dead. Maya looked at Merrick and Fisher.
"We're official DIA transport now. Let's go get our prisoner."
They walked up to the main gate. A guard stepped out. "Identify yourselves." Maya handed him the fabricated credentials on the smartphone.
"Agent Reeves, DIA. We're here to transport the prisoner designated as Hale, Victor. Authorization came through 2 hours ago."
The guard scanned the phone. His computer beeped confirmation. "1 second." He made a call, spoke quietly, then nodded. "You're cleared. Proceed to intake." The gate opened. They walked inside. The facility was exactly what Maya expected. Cold, clinical, designed to hold people the government wanted to forget. A case officer met them in the intake area. "You're here for Hale?" "That's correct." "He's been difficult. We've had to sedate him twice." "We'll manage." The case officer led them through 3 security checkpoints. Each time, their credentials passed inspection. Finally, they reached a cell at the end of a long corridor. Victor Hale sat on a metal bench, wrists and ankles shackled. He looked up when they entered. His eyes widened when he saw Maya. "Hello, Victor," she said calmly. "Time to go." The case officer frowned. "Go? I thought you were just—" Merrick punched him, hard. The man crumpled. Fisher grabbed the keys and unlocked Victor's shackles. Victor stood slowly, rubbing his wrists. "I knew you'd come." "Don't get sentimental. You're not free. You're leverage." "Fair enough." They moved back through the facility. Alarms would go off soon. They needed to move fast. They were almost to the exit when a voice stopped them cold. "Going somewhere, Corman Reeves?" Maya turned. Colonel Marcus Brennan stood in the corridor, flanked by 6 armed contractors. He smiled. "I've been waiting for you." Maya's hand moved to her weapon, but Brennan raised a finger. "I wouldn't. My men have orders to fire the moment you twitch wrong." He stepped closer, his expensive suit somehow still pristine in the grimy facility. "You've been remarkably difficult to kill, Specialist Reeves. I'll give you that." "It's Corporal now," Maya said evenly. "Is it?" Brennan smiled. "We both know that's a lie. You've been hiding behind a corpsman's uniform for 8 years, pretending to be someone harmless. But you were never harmless, were you?" Victor shifted beside her. "Brennan, still cleaning up your messes, I see." "Hale, I heard you were dead. Twice now." Brennan's eyes never left Maya. "You should have stayed that way." Merrick stepped forward. "Colonel Brennan, I'm Commander Jason Merrick, SEAL Team. I know who you are, Commander. And I know you've been harboring a fugitive." Brennan gestured at Maya. "She's been lying to you from the beginning. Everything she told you about Yemen? Half-truths, at best." "The files don't lie," Maya said. "Operation Nightfall, the intelligence sales, all of it." "Those files prove nothing without context." "They prove you've been selling secrets for over a decade." Brennan laughed. "Is that what Hale told you? That I'm some rogue element acting alone?" He pulled out his own phone and showed them a document. Operation Nightfall wasn't a conspiracy. It was policy, authorized at the highest levels. We've been using controlled intelligence leaks to manipulate foreign governments, track their movements, and fund operations Congress would never approve. Maya felt the ground shift again. "You're saying this was sanctioned?" "By people who actually understand how the world works, not idealists, not politicians worried about optics. People who know that sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to keep this country safe." "You murdered an entire team to cover it up," Victor said. "I eliminated a security breach. Morrison was supposed to handle it cleanly. He failed. The compound explosion was unfortunate collateral damage." 9 people died, Maya said, her voice shaking. 9 people who would have exposed a program that has saved thousands of American lives. Brennan's tone was matter-of-fact. "The math is simple." Fisher raised his weapon. "You're under arrest." "On whose authority?" "Mine supersedes yours, Lieutenant." Brennan gestured to his contractors. "These men work for a private security firm with a very generous government contract. They have legal authorization to detain anyone deemed a threat to national security. That includes all of you." "We have evidence," Merrick said.
Evidence that will disappear the moment I make a phone call.
Along with anyone who's seen it. Brennan checked his watch. Deputy Director Wells and Robert Kane are already in custody. The data you think gives you leverage? It's been scrubbed from every system. You have nothing. Maya's mind raced. If Wells and Kane were captured, if the evidence was gone, "You're bluffing," she said. "Am I?" Brennan pulled up another screen. Security camera footage. Wells and Kane being escorted into a black SUV by federal agents. They're not hurt. Yet. Cooperate and they won't be. "What do you want?" Maya asked. "Simple. You and Hale disappear. Permanently this time. The commander and lieutenant here go back to their units and forget this ever happened. And Operation Nightfall continues doing what it was designed to do. And if we refuse? Then everyone dies. You, them, Wells, Kane, even the wounded SEALs from Syria." Brennan's smile faded. "I will burn down everything and everyone you've ever cared about to protect this program. Because unlike you, I understand that some sacrifices are necessary." Victor spoke quietly. "He's not bluffing, Maya. I've seen him do it before." Maya looked at Merrick, at Fisher. Both men were ready to fight, but the math was impossible. 6 contractors with automatic weapons in a narrow corridor. They'd all be dead in seconds. "How do we know you'll keep your word?" she asked Brennan. "You don't. But you don't have a choice." Maya turned to Victor. "Is there any way out of this?" Victor studied the corridor, the contractors, Brennan's confident stance. Then he smiled. "Actually, yeah, there is." Before anyone could react, Victor grabbed Maya's sidearm from her holster and shot the ceiling. The bullet hit a support beam, sparks flew, and somewhere deep in the facility, alarms began to wail. Brennan's eyes widened. "What did you—" "Fire suppression system," Victor said calmly. "Coal mines have them. Very sensitive. Very thorough." Water erupted from the ceiling. Gallons of it, flooding the corridor in seconds. The contractor stumbled. Visibility dropped to 0. "Move!" Maya shouted. They ran. The facility descended into chaos. Water everywhere. Alarms screaming. Emergency lighting flickering. Maya grabbed Merrick's arm and pulled him through the maze of corridors. Victor and Fisher right behind them. "Where are we going?" Merrick yelled over the noise. "Anywhere but here!" They burst through an emergency exit into the forest outside. Rain was falling. Thunder overhead. They ran through the trees, water-soaked and exhausted. Behind them, Brennan's voice echoed. "Find them! I want them alive!" They ran for 10 minutes before Maya called a halt. They'd reached a rocky outcropping that provided some cover. "We can't keep running," Fisher gasped. "Brennan has resources. He'll track us." "He's right," Victor agreed. "Brennan won't stop. Not as long as we're loose ends." Maya was breathing hard. Her mind spun through possibilities. They had no evidence, no allies, no leverage. Except... "Victor," she said slowly, "when you were with Brennan's people, what did you see?" "What do you mean?" "Communications, security protocols, anything that might give us an advantage." Victor thought for a moment. "Brennan keeps a personal server, encrypted, air-gapped from military networks. He's paranoid about leaks." "Where?" "DIA headquarters, his private office." "That's suicide," Merrick said. "We'd never get past security." "Not with force," Maya agreed, "but maybe with finesse." She pulled out the smartphone. The mysterious voice had helped them before. Maybe. She dialed the number. It rang once. "I was wondering when you'd call back," the computerized voice said. "I need one more favor." "I'm listening." "Can you get me into DIA headquarters? Into Brennan's office specifically?"
A long pause. That's a significant ask. I know, but if I don't stop him, Operation Nightfall continues.
And more people die. Another pause. What's your plan? Brennan has a private server. If we can access it, we can prove what he's been doing. Get evidence that can't be erased. Even if I got you inside, you'd need physical access to that server. Brennan would have biometric security, retinal scans, fingerprints.
Then I'll need him there too.
You want to break into DIA headquarters with the Deputy Director of Operations present?
I want to make him confess.
The voice was quiet. Then, you're insane.
Probably. Will you help?
A long silence. Then, there's a supply shipment arriving at DIA headquarters tomorrow at 0600. I can get you in with it. But after that, you're on your own.
That's all I need.
Maya, the voice softened. Chen would be proud of you. The line went dead. Maya looked at the others.
We have 18 hours to get to Virginia.
They stole a truck from a rest stop and drove through the night. Maya sat in the passenger seat, watching the miles disappear, her mind on what was coming. Merrick drove. You really think this will work?
It has to.
And if it doesn't, then at least I'll die trying to fix what I couldn't fix 8 years ago. Fisher spoke from the back. For what it's worth, Corman, you're the bravest person I've ever met.
Or the stupidest, Maya said.
Sometimes it's the same thing, Victor added quietly. They reached the outskirts of Washington, D.C. at dawn. DIA headquarters loomed ahead, a massive complex of concrete and glass, bristling with security. The supply truck was waiting exactly where the mysterious voice had said it would be. Driver unconscious, but unharmed in the cab, credentials on the dashboard. Our ride, Maya said. They climbed into the back among the boxes and equipment. The truck drove through multiple security checkpoints. Each time, the credentials worked. Finally, they arrived at a loading dock inside the complex.
This is it,
Maya whispered.
Victor, you know the way?
3rd floor, east wing, corner office. They slipped out of the truck and moved through the building. Early morning meant minimal staff. They made it to the 3rd floor without incident. Brennan's office was exactly where Victor said it would be. Locked. Biometric scanner beside the door.
Now what? Fisher asked.
Maya pulled out her phone and called Brennan directly. He answered on the 2nd ring. Reeves, I'm impressed. You made it farther than I expected.
We need to talk.
I believe we already had that conversation.
Face to face. Your office. Right now.
Brennan laughed. You're at DIA headquarters? Bold. Stupid, but bold.
I have something you want.
What could you possibly?
Your contractors in West Virginia found a backup drive when they searched us. Wells made a copy of the Nightfall files before you took her. I have it.
And if you're not in your office in 5 minutes, I upload it to every news organization in the world. Silence. You're bluffing. Am I? You want to risk it? Another pause. 5 minutes. Come alone. Not a chance. All of us. Or no deal. Fine, but if I see any weapons, you'll do what? Shoot me in your own office? Maya smiled. See you in 5. She hung up. Merrick stared at her. Please tell me you actually have a backup drive. Maya held up a USB stick. Empty. Nope. Jesus Christ. But he doesn't know that, and his paranoia will get him here. 4 minutes later, footsteps approached. The door opened. Brennan entered alone. No contractors, just him. Where's the drive? He demanded. Maya held it up. Right here. Give it to me.
Not yet. First, we talk. Brennan sighed. What do you want to talk about? The truth. All of it. Everything you did. Everyone you killed. I want to hear you say it.
Why would I do that?
Because if you don't, this drive goes public. Brennan pulled out a small device. That won't work. I'm jamming all wireless signals in this room. You can't upload anything. Maya smiled. Who said anything about uploading? The door behind Brennan opened. Deputy Director Catherine Wells stepped through, holding a recording device. Behind her, 2 FBI agents. Brennan's face went white. You, he breathed. Me, Wells confirmed. I was never captured. That footage you showed them was old surveillance from a different operation. You got sloppy, Marcus. This is entrapment. This is justice. Wells activated the recorder. And you're going to tell me everything about Operation Nightfall. Every detail. Every murder. Every illegal act. She looked at Maya. With Specialist Reeves here as a witness. Brennan's hand moved toward his jacket. Don't, Fisher said, his weapon suddenly trained on Brennan. It's over. Brennan looked around the room, at Maya, at Victor, at Merrick and Fisher and Wells. Then he laughed. You think this ends anything? Operation Nightfall is bigger than me, bigger than all of you. I'm just one piece. Then give us the rest, Wells said. Why would I do that? Maya stepped forward. Because I'm giving you a choice Victor never got. Confess. Name everyone involved, and maybe you get to live. Brennan met her eyes. And if I refuse, then I make sure everyone knows what you did. Your family, your friends, your legacy. I will burn your name so thoroughly that your own children won't speak it. Brennan was quiet for a long time. Then he sat down, and he started talking. For 3 hours, Brennan confessed to everything. The intelligence sales, the assassinations, the cover-ups. He named names, provided bank accounts, detailed the entire structure of Operation Nightfall. Wells recorded every word. When he finished, FBI agents took him into custody. Wells turned to Maya. You did it.
Maya didn't feel victorious. She just felt tired. What happens now? She asked. Now? Congressional hearings, trials, a lot of very powerful people going to prison. Wells paused. And you get your life back. What life? I've been dead for 8 years. Then maybe it's time to be alive again. 2 weeks later, Maya stood in Arlington National Cemetery. 9 headstones, 9 names. Phantom Recon Unit 7. She placed flowers on each one. When she reached the last, Staff Sergeant David Chen, she knelt down. I finished it, she whispered. The mission. It took 8 years, but I finished it. Footsteps behind her. She turned. Commander Merrick approached, no longer in uniform. Civilian clothes, relaxed. Thought I'd find you here, he said. I needed to tell them. Tell them what? That they didn't die for nothing. That the truth came out, that... Her voice broke. That I'm sorry it took so long. Merrick sat beside her. You know what Chen told me once? Back when we served together? Maya looked up. You knew him? Briefly. Different unit, same deployment. He said the hardest part of being a sniper wasn't taking the shot. It was living with it afterward. Merrick gestured at the headstones. These people didn't die so you could carry guilt forever. They died protecting something bigger than themselves, just like you've been doing. I was a corpsman treating blisters at a training base. You were a soldier, waiting for the right moment. Merrick stood and offered his hand. And when that moment came, you didn't hesitate. Maya took his hand and stood. What will you do now? Merrick asked. I don't know. I've been someone else for so long.
I'm not sure who I really am anymore.
Then figure it out. You've got time now. They walked through the cemetery together. At the gate, Fisher was waiting, his legs still bandaged but healing. "Reeves," he said, "got a minute?" "Sure." Fisher handed her an envelope. "This came through official channels this morning. Thought you'd want to see it." Maya opened it. It was a reinstatement notice. The Department of Defense was officially recognizing her service with Phantom 7. Her rank restored, full honors, and an offer to join a new training program for combat medics. "They want you to teach," Fisher explained. "Pass on what you know. Make sure the next generation is ready." Maya stared at the letter. 8 years of hiding. 8 years of guilt. 8 years of being invisible. And now, someone was asking her to step back into the light.
I don't know if I can, she whispered.
"Yes, you can," Merrick said. "Because that's what soldiers do. We carry the weight. We pass on the lessons. We make sure the next person has a better chance than we did." Maya folded the letter carefully. Then she looked at both men and smiled.
"When do I start?"
6 months later, Maya stood in front of a classroom at Fort Benning. 20 young medics sat before her, eager and terrified. "My name is Specialist Maya Reeves," she began, "and I'm going to teach you how to save lives under fire. But first, I'm going to tell you a story about 9 people who taught me what it really means to be a soldier." She rolled up her sleeve, revealing the Phantom 7 tattoo. This symbol represents something important. It represents the people who stand their ground when everyone else falls. The people who carry the weight so others don't have to. The people who understand that being a soldier isn't about killing. It's about protecting. She looked at each student. Some of you will face moments in combat where you have to make impossible choices, where you have to decide between following orders and doing what's right. When that moment comes, I want you to remember something. She gestured to the tattoo. These people died because they chose to protect others over protecting themselves. They chose service over survival. And 8 years ago, I survived because of those choices. She paused. I spent those 8 years thinking I was broken, thinking I was hiding. But I wasn't hiding. I was preparing for the moment when I could honor their sacrifice by becoming the soldier they believed I could be. She walked to the front of the room. You're not here to learn how to be invisible. You're here to learn how to be the person who steps forward when everyone else steps back. The person who gives the rifle when someone falls. The person who becomes whatever the mission requires: medic, soldier, leader, protector. She picked up a medical bag and set it on the desk. This bag contains the tools to save lives, but the real tool is you, your training, your courage, your willingness to stand your ground when it matters most. One student raised a hand. "Specialist Reeves, what if we're not ready?" Maya smiled. "Nobody's ever ready, but you show up anyway. You do the work. You trust your training. And when the moment comes," she met the student's eyes, "you don't hesitate." She slung the medical bag over her shoulder. "Now let's get to work, because somewhere out there, someone's life is going to depend on what you learn in this room. And I'll be damned if I let them down the way I almost let myself down." The students stood, and for the first time in 8 years, Maya Reeves felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. Not hiding from the past, not running from the guilt, but standing her ground, teaching the next generation how to carry the weight, honor the sacrifice, and become the soldiers who step forward when everyone else falls.